Welcome to a special episode of the Top Dogs podcast. Today we're thrilled to welcome Calvin, the creator of the furry visual novel called Cleaved. In today's episode, we'll explore the world of Cleaved, both its unique features and the creative and technical insights behind its development. Additionally, we'll be discussing with Calvin the art of crafting compelling narratives and character development in visual novels. Episode 101 of the Top Dogs podcast. I'm Stream Arcadad.
I'm Ryker.
I'm Moo Moo.
I'm Calvin, the guy who was forced to be here.
Forced to be here.
Oh,
We'll have to
dang, I didn't know we were that bad.
Calvin,
Nah, I'm kidding.
That was a secret.
Alright. So,
I'm serious as though.
you know, obviously.
Crack jokes, but we want like you more serious for the intro. Sorry, I got 2 a.m. brain right now, so I'm just trying to see what the vibe is.
it's okay. Don't worry. Since you are our special guest, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself? You know, is there anything like unique that you would like to share with us, you know, about you as a person or, you know, just in general?
Yeah, I think I can do a little bit of that, but it's gonna be hard to follow considering Stream stole most of my thunder with that awesome introduction. But no, I'm Calvin, and before I do anything, I just want to say thanks to you guys for having me on the pod today. I'm looking forward to getting into all of this. Pretty much, I'm a striped hyena, probably been a furry on the internet for about 4 years now. I'm based in a little place probably not will know about called Wales, south of England. And yeah, I am the creator and lead developer for Cleaved, the furry visual novel.
That's really cool. I'm honestly really glad that you're here, and I know that Ryker is super excited that you're here.
Yeah, of
Nudge,
course
nudge,
they're getting all
wink,
the furry VN tattoos.
Of course.
We don't talk about that.
Oh, please. We're
His
gonna need a
tattoos
photo
are-
of that for this episode.
His like arm tattoos and photos are starting to become memes on Twitter. It's really funny.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I have seen them. I knew about the
Amazing.
memes before I met Ryker. It was amazing.
I thought it was really funny one because someone's like adding this to my collection.
Oh my god. That's crazy. So I know that you are working on Cleaved right now. Could you tell us a little bit about the story and like the plot synopsis?
Yeah, of course. So for me, Cleave is a project I started over lockdown originally when COVID was still the biggest thing. It's my take on a steampunk dystopia meets dark fantasy, with everyone's favorite topic here being furries, and just how unique interactions they would have with the world of play.
That's really cool. What inspired you to make this? Like, what is the motivation that like really got you going to want to like actually delve into making this different like story in this world?
So I have always loved fantasy games as a kid. Legend of Zelda, Skyrim, multiple other ones like different franchises. My big break was that I really got into D&D in my younger years. Only problem I had was I didn't really have like a friend group or a social circle that was like really into that sort of stuff. So as a creative outlet, I would basically just spend some of my free time writing D&D campaigns. Particularly, I made the one that is now known as Cleaved. It was my most interesting tale that I'd like obviously written up when I was younger. However, since getting into the fandom, getting my interest involved, and just developing over the past few years, I've slowly just like rearranged it to get it to the right specs that it's in now, and just make it what it is essentially.
That being said, is there any like specific features that you are really proud of and you think are really, really cool story? Because honestly, I'd love to hear more. I'd love to hear more about like just the world that you built.
Yeah, so I've always been a big history nerd as well, and I love seeing how different franchises and concepts can take inspiration from real life history and concepts and just bring them into their own realities for a world. So with Cleaved, what I would say is like most interesting for it is, although it's not a set baseline, every character draws from like a rich cultural source for like a history for a background context. So for instance, the wolves in my VN are all based on different Nordic cultures, just coming together to make a kind of like a hot pot of just different types of ingredients to create an interesting character concept for all of them. Like, they may all walk different concepts and backgrounds of life, but they all come together to form the actual position they do in the narrative. And I've done that for almost every character so far, barring one or two that I'm still working on.
I've noticed they all have unique name style. They're not the typical North American or, British names. They all have Nordic style names as well. What I found really interesting is that every time you present a new character with its name, you actually spell in parentheses how to pronounce it. So it's really interesting because it allows people to learn how to pronounce the name as well, which I think was a really nice touch you added to your VN.
I owe that to Orion. He has been a godsend with the coding and just coming up with because the thing is, I didn't think you could do something like that on Rampy, but he showed us how to do it, and that's just been like a go-to standard. Because it's not just for the names as well. We are trying to say, for example, if we use a certain phrase or a certain dialect, you'll also get a copy of that for those words as well.
Really cool.
Ryker, I know that you are very, very interested in this novel. Would you tell us about your favorite aspects of the novel?
I know what it is.
Leave me alone, my mic was
It's okay.
Say the line, Ryker.
So, where should I start? Story? Or the man?
Probably the story first.
I can't say too much, because I don't know if chapter 3 is out to the public.
Chapter 3 is out of the public.
Oh, okay, good.
Go ham.
Go free, bro. Spoilers and I'll go right ahead. Everyone's had enough time.
I think so far what I actually really like, I mean, yes, I do enjoy the accidental slip in the bathroom. But so far,
that was so
Of
good.
course you would.
But there's something that really just draws my attention, and it was the voice? Yeah, the voice that speaks PMC.
The mysterious voice.
Yes, that is what really got my attention, and I can't wait to learn.
I was gonna say, that's only one of the very few topics that I can't really speak much on about at the moment, but I have seen a lot of people that have been theorizing and guessing, and I've been loving everyone's attempt so far. It's been really cool to see the community come together to figure out just what it could be.
Me personally, I've been really drawn into the story, just how it begins. You're this human being working in a lab, and then a malfunction happens, and then for a blip of a second, you're in space, and then boop, you're in another world. You're on Earth. But then as you walk around, you realize, oh my god, it's not exactly what I thought. And you get to meet all these characters, which the character design, visually speaking, I'm quite pleased. They're quite attractive. But yeah, we gotta thank Haps for that. But I mean, you're the one that, brings up the idea for the character design. You had specific things, body shapes in mind that you present to Haps, and I think he portrayed them really well. But the whole story with the mysterious voice, what happened, you have so many questions as you play along, and you never know what's gonna happen. It always keeps you on edge. I'm really excited on how Cleave is gonna evolve through time. I know we've talked a few times on Discord privately, and you seem to have a lot of ideas, and honestly, I can't wait to see what's coming up next. It's super interesting.
It's honestly just a matter of time.
Honestly, that kind of pulls us into our next question. I know that you have collaborated with a bunch of people, who has helped you create this dream?
Oh, I've got a lot of team members. I'm gonna say this one now because I know for a fact if I don't, he's gonna be giving me daggers. My good buddy Casey, if you're watching this right now, I know you're gonna be smiling as well. Casey was the one who actually introduced me to visual novels, during lockdown when I first got inspired to do Cleaved. He is obviously one of the bigger ones for it, because without him, I probably wouldn't have done the project in the first place, because I didn't even know VNs existed until then. Also, my good buddy turned editor, Alan, he's one of the main guys that has supported me throughout the entire process for it. In terms of people that I went out of my way to hire for though, obviously I owe pretty much all to Haps for the amazing artwork that he's done, Martini and Mo for the soundtracks. Oh, my newest team members as well, Toast, absolutely lovely guy, and he has done some amazing background so far despite having some big shoes to fill, and I just love to see how everyone's having fun doing the project as well.
So I'm not super familiar with your visual novel, but Ryker's told me a lot about it. This morning I helped him with like one of the promos, and I stared at this background, and it was beautiful.
The splash out one, was it, with the axe and the stone?
Yes.
Yes.
This is gonna sound really stupid, but I loved. Oh my god, I
Whoops.
Detention!
No, I did it. Okay. I don't know.
Am I allowed to swear or are we not allowed to swear? I just want to go forward.
No swearing. no swearing. Strict minimum.
Oh my god,
We're
I got ahead of myself.
One
I'm so
F-bomb
sorry.
per episode.
I'm sorry, editor.
And it's spoiled.
You
Okay.
didn't even give it to me. What the H?
I'm sorry. Okay, but this is gonna sound stupid, but I freaking loved the look of the leaves. Like the leaves on it, they're just, I don't know. I love the way that they look. They're just cool, and like the intricacies on the axe itself is just really, really pretty.
If you are at all curious, that was done by my good buddy Bork Thunder. I'll be honest, they have not done anything for Cleaved for a little while, but that will change in the near future. I need to get back in contact with them for some stuff, so it won't be the only piece you see, but I can't talk on that right now, unfortunately. Otherwise it ruins the surprise.
Ooh, surprise. Well, that's cool. That's awesome, honestly. I know that you spoke a little bit about the plot itself, but there's one specific aspect about visual novels that they usually have, and that's branching storylines and like different endings, you know? How are you planning or like approaching creating those different meaningful choices for, you know, the player character to be able to have such an impact on the narrative?
So, Moo, I know you said you weren't too familiar with Cleveland and story and everything, but I know Stream and Ryker have. Something we're doing quite frequently now at this point is at different points in the novel, we're going to give you the option to essentially pick an entire route to yourself. Like, there'll be an option to interact with this character or run away with this character and sneak off for a while. And in doing so, in those instances, what you get is curated scenes that like better the understanding you get with said character. So, for example, in the very first build, we offer you the choice between running from the law or sticking around to get arrested. In doing so, if you choose to run away, you get a better relationship with one of my characters by the name of Fraser. He's a fox outlaw, and if you choose to get arrested, you get the exact same effect with one of the head guards, Skilled. What I'm trying to do a better job at communicating is if you feel as if you make these decisions and there isn't anything going on for you, there is a secret code in the background that is keeping track of these choices to give you better results for what you want out of the story in future builds. So for instance, if you picked Fraser's route in build 1, you would have a better relationship with his dads in build 2, and then so on and so forth, and from any other decisions you make.
His
That's
dads
really
are
cool.
adorable. They're so sweet. They're a cute couple. They're a really cute couple.
I did want to make like a cute gay couple, or just like any kind of couple ready for this one, in the sense of, I know some VNs like to play with the concept of, oh my god, LGBT themes, illegal, but I kind of didn't want to go for the same vibe for that one. I also just wanted to have like, yeah, it happens. You want to do it, you can do it.
All right, well, could you provide us a little bit of insight to those different like storytelling, like pivotal roles and moments?
I would definitely recommend, right, especially anyone that wants to like get into this sort of style as well, diversify in like your interests in different books, games, movies, TV shows, whatever the case is, because the amount of content people have got available to them nowadays is absolutely insane compared to like people that want to like do something of this genre a few years ago. Aside from that, this is more of like a personal thing that I have myself. Also recommend seeing if you can use your own personal interests to help you form like any sort of narrative decisions that you want to do for story topics at any genre. So, for instance, given myself having an interest in both history and geography, I look to real-world influences that can help me with different parts of the narrative sections. So, if I want to make a character and I want to go for these routes, and I look at a cultural background to help design like their home or how they would furnish their house. I look at an historical background to design their clothing or the way they might speak or anything of like that sort of styling. again, that's what I did for a lot of the characters for Cleave so far, and everyone seems to love the uniqueness of them, so I think it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, if you design a character and have a lot of cultural aspects and like real world, like little itsy pieces and stuff, it always ends up making the character like well-rounded, and I love that in like any sort of media.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like something a lot of the time now we see is it's not just, oh, I like this character because they look cool. People nowadays prefer to see characters that have like lore and like different aspects to them. And when those things are like interwoven in the design, I think it just makes them pop out and just stand out a lot more than they would normally.
If a character tends to feel like they are a real person with real, consequences to their action, I feel like they end up having more of an impact. And it's great. I love seeing that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because I do too, and I'm glad to hear like the fans and audiences are also enjoying it as well.
So I have a question. Obviously, you have a few people on your team. How did you started building your team? What did you look for? Did you have any contacts, people that volunteered? Did you ask around? What was the process to build your team for your visual novel?
So that was actually quite an interesting one. So I had met AC and Alan years ago by this point, and they both were the ones, as I said, that introduced me to the whole scene for it. And it was around the same time that I was first starting to commission artists for personal art for myself, of just anything I wanted. So it kind of just became a concept of I would look at various styles, see who could do what, look at budget. Obviously, one thing I will warn everyone now, if you want to get into VNs, it is an expensive hobby to get into.
Oh yeah, it is. I know.
So one thing, know your budgets, know your limits, then go from there, and the rest will carry it through. But in all seriousness, it just became a case of me just finding artists I liked and just reaching out saying, hey, I have this idea. It's a bit more of a long form project, so I'm not sure if that's something you'd be interested in, but I'm wondering if you could do this for me. And 9 times out of 10, the furry artist community is really nice. So they'll hear you out and just say, hey, I can do this for you. I might need some more time, but the rough price would be this. I can get going. Or they might just be like, oh, I'm really sorry. It's just not something I can do at this time. I need to try again later, or just cut your losses and you can just try again. It is just one of those things where you just have to know where to reach out, and you can just rest on your own back for that one. You can accomplish whatever for it.
I need to give a shout out to your programmers, because I've played a few visual novels, and one thing that I really noticed, and I'm pretty sure Ryker is going to agree with me, but the amount of camera movement you've added inside the scene by just shifting, like where you're looking at, it's looking down, it's looking up and down, and the character kind of moves across. The sprite movement and background movement is something I've never seen in other VNs. It is quite good. I was really impressed with it, and you give my compliments to programmers.
Orion and Watson were amazing for that one, because they I know it sounds really silly, because at the end of the day someone could make the argument that you just make, moving the camera in different directions, but given the fact that it's basically a comic book in the sense that all the images are still, it just adds so much when they do like little camera movements or little like verbal shakes. It just makes it feel more alive, and it's really put it into perspective for me just how good it looks.
We say it all the time, the devil's in the detail, and definitely there's a lot of details in here. For sure.
Oh yeah.
Stay updated with Top Dogs Podcast by subscribing to our YouTube channel and ringing that notification bell. Follow us on your favorite podcast platform and hit that follow button and to get notified for every new episode. Share the love by leaving us a quick rating. Connect with our community by joining our Discord server and Telegram community chat. You'll find all the necessary links in our link tree down below, and we love and appreciate your support.
Hey, Top Dogs fan. If you're looking to snag awesome perks while supporting us, explore our server subscription on Discord or Patreon. By becoming a podcast supporter, you'll access exclusive behind-the-scenes footage, join supporter meetups, express yourself with custom hand-drawn emojis featuring the Top Dogs team, and chat with the podcast team and fellow fans. Plus, we got the brand new After Dogs show for mature audiences only at just $2.99 a month. Craving more? Upgrade to the Podcast Supporter Plus for $5.99 a month month and enjoy episode voting, suggest podcast episodes, and be part of our live audience. Plus, unlock exclusive sneak peeks of upcoming ideas, merch drop, and much more in the futures. By the way, if you didn't know, if you don't have a VR headset, you can join the Discord and be part of the live audience through the Discord voice chat. So therefore, you don't need a VR headset to enjoy the show. There's also no obligation in these to join these subscription, but your support generally makes a huge difference for all of our team. And for those who have already subscribed, a heartfelt thank you sincerely from the bottom of our hearts.
Question of the week this week is, what is your favorite furry visual novel and what makes it your favorite? We actually have a couple different answers. Lakaios, I think is how to pronounce it. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Mornatsu, my favorite visual novel and introduction to furries. And then we have Rashinko, I'm so bad with names, tie between Adastra and extracurricular activities. Then we have Lupin the Wolf VR. Honestly, gotta give it to Tennis Ace. Tackles a lot of real life issues and it's very inspirational. And our own friend Lazarus over there, Echo, by the Echo Project. Being the horror fan I am, I was surprised to see an adult gay furry visual novel actually scare and disturb me. The story is well told and values replayability with all the different character routes, and I highly recommend it if you're a horror fan. And then we have Justin the Wolf, the Fire Wolf Dog. Definitely Adastra. Also, congratulations on making it to the 100th episode. Thank you, Justin. We love you.
Same idea.
So,
Oh, you guys got me on for the 100th episode? Oh, you guys.
Actually, you're a 101. We
yeah,
have
you're
a
technically
special
100
long
first.
form. Yeah,
Wow.
you're 101st.
I'm sorry. It's all my fault.
We should answer the question of the week as well. That would be a good question
yeah,
for
we
me
should.
to answer. Okay. Start with Ryker first.
Brain. Ryker.
Had to start with me. Oh,
Of course we have to
this is
start
so
with you.
hard. There's so many. Oh,
Yeah.
but there's so many good ones.
Pick two. Pick two.
You can pick more than one.
Oh no. Oh,
Pick three if you have to.
I'll come after you. But
Go on, Ryker, you indecisive little so-and-so. Give us your top three.
wow. Okay, top three. You know, I have two favorite new ones, along with an old. Start with the old, because I've mentioned it in like 2 other episodes. Adastra. You can all guess why. Do not look in my room. And then
Oh,
my
no.
other 2 new ones are, of course, Cleaved.
Aw, nice guy.
I'm not nice. I'm just a simp. Oh. No. Put that away. Put that
Oh,
away.
Oh no.
This one.
Okay. And then the last one would be Northern. I'm not gonna get into why they're my favorite because that would take me forever to say, and everyone already knows. Men.
That is
And
completely
the story
fair.
is really good. Story is love the story.
How about you, Stream?
Me, all-time favorite. I really enjoyed Adastra. Great game. The story, pretty linear story. There's not much different routes you can really take. Actually, there's 2 decisions. Really enjoyed the storyline, the character, the development. It's really good. Another one that was supposed to be one of our guests is Shelter. Big fan of Shelter, made by Ross Vufsky. The guy is a one-man army who did everything, and he literally just finished the route for the 3rd character, and before you get to that final ending for the 3rd character, I've actually invested 40 hours into the visual novel because there's so many routes you can go. There's character development, there's funny stuff, there's adult stuff, there's quirky adult stuff, there's fighting scenes, it's like puzzles, there's live action, there's also a place where you have to figure out like puzzles to figure out where to go. Sorry, I'm repeating myself. It's just like it's really good. It's really amazing. Been enjoying playing it quite a lot, and I gotta say Cleave has been put on my new top 5 visual novels. We're just at Bill 3 and I'm already like hooked onto the visual novel. I think you did a fantastic job. The characters are absolutely adorable and I can't wait to see what's coming up for them. So yeah, that's my top 3.
What about you? Do you have any favorites?
I do actually. I'm surprised this one hasn't been mentioned all that much. As far as VNs go, if I have to say what my favorite is currently, it's gotta go to RTF, also known as Remember the Flowers. It is one of the only VNs I have read in a long time that has put me on the biggest emotional roller coaster I ever experienced. One minute I'm crying, the next minute I'm laughing, the next minute I want to tear Cooper's head off, but you have to play it to find out why.
I need to play that one. I haven't played that one.
It's so good. Also, Jericho, drop more updates, please.
I've just started playing Kimia because, you know, Streams Toys, I might have a future partnership coming up, and I want to get more to do a little bit more research concerning one of the characters. Let's just say that.
That's research.
I obviously have to go back and do some research myself because I'm a little bit out of the loop. Because I know about Cleaved, I know about Adastra, but I don't know about many visual novels. So I'm gonna have you and you. And I'm gonna look up the one that you. I'm gonna have to go and I'm gonna have to check them out.
Play him first. Play him first.
Of course.
Enjoy.
I will. I definitely will. Okay. Going on from our favorite novels and stuff, could you share with us any different like obstacles and stuff that you've had to withstand actually setting up this project and going through it?
Sorry, I'm gonna cut character a second. I have one, but I'm not sure if it's too deep to talk on the podcast with, so give me 1 second. So I will say this now. Something I make very obvious when I hire someone for the team, or like I do posts online about it, is I live in the UK. I've got one person on my team that also lives in the UK. Everyone else is either in America, Europe, or another random country. And the biggest problem we have is that scheduling conflicts can happen quite a lot as a result from just the sheer amount of time zone differences. Like, for example, what could be, say, 3 o'clock for me is like 9 a.m. for some of the guys that I need to talk about getting music from. It can just be wild fluctuations. But I will say this, it's important not to get disheartened if something like this does come up, because when a team member goes down, it can absolutely knock you for 6, but if you let it, it's just going to keep you down and not be able to get things back up.
Well, how did you go about these scheduling conflicts? How did you manage to overcome this obstacle that you had? Because I know it can be really rough when you're trying to get, information from someone, and maybe they're asleep or maybe they're at work. What did you do to work around it?
So a lot of the time, something that does happen is that I'm very grateful we have a community that is very understanding that these things do unfortunately happen sometimes. So I do owe quite a lot of credence to the fact that, as I said, people are very supportive of that fact when it does happen. However, the best thing I can recommend someone would do if you're concerned about like these schedule conflicts hitting yourself is we use a lot of just drag and drop apps for different applications and notes. Like Trello is one of the biggest things I use personally. So that way I can just write up like 6 different Word documents, put them all on there, and my team knows what's for them, the rough date that I need to buy, and then they can just update it there. So if they're asleep by the time I get up, I can just check it, see if they responded, and we can go from there.
That's actually a really smart idea. Just, have a place where everyone can drop all their stuff, and then as you go, update what schedule you're on, try and make it to the date.
Exactly that. I do occasionally have smart ideas, not all the time, but when they do, they're good.
Well, please. You gotta give yourself some more credit.
I'm trying.
Good. You deserve it. So as an indie creator, what other kinds of like advice would you give to other creators, whether it's like, the visual novel medium or just like any medium in general? What advice would you give them for developing their own like art or whatever?
We'll elaborate, but it's going to sound very stupid at the start, right? Know what you want to do. And I know that sounds like a really silly thing to say for someone that wants to make a story, but one of the like biggest motivation killers I find is if you just have a string of ideas but you're not really sure what the message you want to send to your reader is. As long as you know what you want to do, you will have a much easier time finding the right way of just, coming together and pulling the ideas into a consistent narrative that will explain your message, your story, and just make it a lot more easy for the audience to understand what you're trying to do. Because, as I said, if it's not, coherent and clear for people, you're not going to attract an interest. That's the unfortunate reality for it.
That being said, is there a way that you specifically plan the layout of your novel to help prevent that?
Ooh, I always forget the term for this, but I'll be honest, I am one of those people that likes to write the ending of a story first and then work my way backwards. Purely because I just find it a bit easier to basically come up with a string of points that will get me to the ultimate end goal. And then if I have a basic idea for how, say, point A could start to get to the end zone, I've got the entire timeline of making that build to add on ideas for it to make a fleshed out piece of content I want it to be before I send it off to the editing team. So it's just a way that I can essentially build my story up to get to the zone I need to.
We are at one of our last questions, but I will wait to ask. Ryker, do you have any questions that are itching at your brain currently?
No, I have everything. I have no question.
You have everything?
I do. So, I was at a Moo as some. And what he just said is, I went to this one panel that was for creating a visual novel. And what he just said is exactly what they start from the back, that way they have their ending, and they work their way forward, knowing they're gonna work toward. I think that's a really good way to actually build on.
So, for some of you guys, I don't know if you guys are aware or not, but I'm currently actually working on my own VN. It's called Busted. Now, the name is subject to change, but you answer the fact that you answer by saying that you started with the ending and then you worked your way back. Me, I've been brainstorming with my husband, Boom Boom, which is in the audience right now, and we kind of did a different technique. For us, before we started writing the whole story, we wrote the backbone. What is the key elements that are going to happen? And we actually ended up going at beginning and then middle and then end, then 1/3 of the way, then 3/4 of the way, then going back to the middle, going back to the end, going back at the beginning, and it kind of bounced around like that. But we did it in a way so that every single character has a link somewhat with another one. So we've built this web of relationship between the different characters inside of the visual novel. And as my husband and I, we brainstormed one session for 3 hours, and our eyes were watering. It's like the dramatic event, what's going to happen, what happens between the Arcadad, his son, and the family, and the restaurant, and a bunch of things that are going to happen in the background. Now, there's some elements that are based off real life, but some of these are entirely fictional. But me, I'm personally a big fan of character development, so I wanted to make sure that throughout the development of the novel, there was some sort of character development or good story progression. Designing the story is, I think, to me, feels like it's like the hardest part, knowing exactly where you're going, and then you can, once you have the skeleton of your story, then you add the meat and the skin and the hair, and you build up your story basically. So it's quite a process. I find it interesting. You start from the end and then work your way back, which I think is a very unique approach I've never heard about.
See, I'm thinking I should elaborate a little bit on this now. The way it works for me, it's not to say that I don't think your way works, but what I take into consideration is the genre of what you're trying to write. Something I see nowadays quite a lot from different comics or TV shows or anything that's like pop culture-esque, if you will, for me, is a lot of pieces don't have the finale in mind as they're creating the concepts. And what I find with that one is that if you create an entire storyline and your ending doesn't cover every single thing that you've covered in the actual chapter, there are going to be some fans that are going to feel as if the ending isn't complete because you didn't cover the bits that they were interested in. So for me, I want to have that ending from the outset completely done, but that way there's no chance of me going overboard on a different area only for it to come to this zone and just not be enough. But I think if you want to go for more of like a story of either familial tragedy or romance or just something that's more present tense and non-fantasy based, I think your way does work really well for something like that, because you're planning the major arcs for the story ahead of time.
Was that a
So-
question?
No, we're just saying in general.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I didn't miss something.
No.
I would like that you, at this second, plug your socials, plug where we can find your stuff before I ask you our final question of the day, of the night.
Oh, okay, you put me on the spot. No, I'm joking. So I really appreciate having the chance to come on here. I'll let you guys know. So if you do want to find us anywhere, just to see what we're up to, you can find us on Twitter at Cleaved VN. We're also on itch.io at Funky Dog Studios. If you want to try any of the builds out now ahead of time, they are all on there for you to download and just play through to your heart's content. And if you'd like to support us for any of our upcoming projects, as well as Cleaved itself, you can also find us on Patreon at Funky Dog Studios as well.
Cool. So our last question of the night is, could you give us a little bit of a hint or maybe even a teaser about what fans can expect from future builds and updates? Or if there's any other new projects that you are planning on besides Cleaved?
I actually can for this one. So something... You good? Oh, this guy. So I actually announced in the Discord server the other day for the Cleaved personal one. Something we're doing for the meantime now is that we are going to be starting a brand new series of side episodes where you get to see more aspects of the world from Cleaved from the eyes of our various members of the cast. The first one we're going to be doing is episode Fraser. I can't give a concrete release date of when that is going to be just yet, but we are having significant progress that's going to be going on the Patreon later today for everyone to get a little bit of a glimpse of what's going on. That said, I did manage to get a commission completed in time specifically for this episode, and I have sent it to both Ryker and Stream. I'm sure the lovely editors will make sure it's included at the end cutscene for the audience today.
Yeah, we'll put
However-
it in. Ryker, you take care of it, right? You know where to put it? We have to
I
show
already
people
put it.
because it's awesome. Oh, you put it in there? Oh my god.
Ryker already put it there.
Good job.
He's ready. He's so ready.
But no, so after episode Fraser is complete and put out to everyone, the next episode we will be doing is called Cleaved episode Vaughn. Vaughn is a grizzly bear, and he is the new elected chief of the bear tribe that is going to be present going forward now for Cleaved's future build. He was briefly mentioned in build 3, but I want to give everyone a bit of a show as to what he was doing while we were watching build 3 unfold as the main castle.
I'm so excited.
Well,
I'm excited for
excited
that.
to see where your projects go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Really
Appreciate
happy
it.
that we were able to have you on.
Great having you on the show. You're amazing.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thanks again.
Also, I don't know if I should bring this up, but you and I, we're still going to be talking after this episode. We have some business to do together concerning a certain
Great.
thing going to happen. Should I
Not
talk
right now.
about it, or I keep that private?
Stream.
'Cause-
Not right now.
I love you, but it's 3 a.m. This yin is eeky
Okay.
and you be to sleepy.
I better get my dad joke of the day done. So, what happens when frogs park illegally?
Oh no.
Don't.
Oh, God.
What
There you
happens
go.
when they park illegally?
Don't do this
They
to
get
me.
towed.
Oh, you can't keep
Even-
doing this to us. No.
They'll be coming every week. I forgot last week for that one.
I was so happy when you forgot. You know why? I didn't have to deal with that dad joke.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's gonna be a reoccurring thing. So, yeah, you bet it will be there.
I'm gonna cry now. You happy? You're gonna make me cry.
Calvin, thank you so much for coming on the episode today. Honestly, like your work, the dedication, the time and effort you're putting into your visual novel clearly shows. The storyline is amazing. The character design, development is absolutely amazing. Please, congratulations to you and I can't phrase right now. My God, I can't speak. High praise to you and your team for their amazing work. I think I'm tired too. I think
Oh,
I'm
I
tired.
know.
Yeah, go to bed. No more dad
But
jokes.
no, I'm probably repeating myself, but I do really appreciate it, guys, and I will pass on like the praise and compliments to the rest of the team as well, because without them, I would not have Cleaved as far as it is nowadays.
Shout out
Alright.
to the Cleaved team.
Yeah, shout out to the Cleaved team.
Shout out to the Cleaved team.
All right, guys.
All right.
So I hope Thank you guys for joining on this episode of the Top Dogs podcast. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, have a fantastic night, have a fantastic evening, and I hope you guys are going to go check Cleaved on itch.io because you got to play this and you're going to have a good time. So, good night, everyone. Take care. Make life fun. Enjoy life. Bye-bye.
I'm gonna corrupt Moo Moo with visual.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Please do it.